Tell that there's extra energy around this team, or for a team that's so young and not having as much playoff experience? Does it just feel like another week?
Oh man, I think it's just one of those exciting weeks that, like, I know at least for me, it's hard depending on so many things to happen in your favor just to be able to win. It's like you rather everything be in your control, and so I think it was just one of those moments where after we were able to win such a crazy game against the Rams. What's going on? After we were able to win like that crazy game versus the Rams, it was like you want to celebrate, but it's hard to celebrate. Like Mike was talking about that, on Twitter leading into the game. And it was like to be able to sit at home on Sunday night, watch the game. It was one of those like weird type of feelings because it's like you can't get mad at every single play. You kind of like got to let the game play out. And luckily it played out in our favor. So, once DJ Shark had caught that little stick route, I was celebrating with my fiance, my family. We knew we were going to the playoffs. And so it was kind of like one of those cool feelings where, yeah, we won and didn't know if we were in, but it was really exciting to watch us be able to get in. It just made that day so much more better. So, I mean, now coming into this week, we understand that we're like one of 14 teams that are in, and nobody expected us to be here. So for us, I mean, we really don't have nothing to lose.
There's a lot of young guys on this team. Is a veteran who's been through a lot of playoff games, is there anything you offer up to them just to get them ready for this?
No, I mean, because this is, to me, like, again, it's just different. Like, I mean, we got such a young team, and when you hear about all the stuff that was said about us from the beginning of the year all the way until now, it's like, I mean, if nobody expected us to be here, it's like nobody expects us to win, like, outside of our building. We believe that we can win, but nobody else does. Like, nobody thought that we would be able to do any of the things that we were able to do. Everybody was shocked we even got into the playoffs. And so, I mean, for us, it's like, man, we just going to go out there and just play free. Like, we're not going to play with any worries. We don't really care what the weather's going to be like. Like, we really don't care about any of that stuff. We just going to play like we ain't got nothing to lose.
I'm not sure that people expected your quarterback to do what he did this year. Out of the records that he set and the plays that he made, what was the biggest takeaway for you in working with him?
The biggest takeaway for me just being able to work with Geno was just the fact of how when bad things happened, he never flinched. I think that's like the biggest thing. Obviously, when you look at a lot of the stuff that was being said about him on social media, him and Drew, it's like they both approached this season with a chip on their shoulder. Like they fought to try to be the best that they could be. And, even when Geno won a job, like, I remember like hearing Drew say like he's going to be the best backup that he can be. He's going to be right there, like helping him along the way, like talking to him about what he sees or, whatever it is that Geno needs. And I mean, that's what you want, when you look for, teammates to be able to come on the team. And just to be able to see, like, the great stuff that he does, I mean, that's amazing. But to see that he doesn't flinch whenever, stuff like that happens, like, yeah, we beat the Rams in overtime, and, it was a great game. But the fact that Geno was able to throw 2 picks and still didn't flinch and still was throwing the ball, still was making plays with his feet, like, people don't understand how mentally strong you have to be in order to be able to overcome that type of stuff. And so to look back at the type of season he's had just in a regular season, I mean, I could see how mentally strong he is because, just to be able to see half the stuff that people said about him even leading up to the season, it was just kind of like, wow, like, that would get me mad and get me wanting to get ready for the season, So the fact that he controlled all his emotions, he really bought in, he did all the stuff that he wanted to be able to do. And, everybody else is shocked. But, I mean, inside the building, we knew what he could be able to do if he was given that chance. And so just real happy for him.
Tyler, is that what gives you the confidence that he's going to be the same quarterback in the playoffs, even though he's never started a playoff game?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, whatever happens, we know that he's going to overcome it. So, I mean, to me, like, that's what you want when you're looking at, like, the players on our team is it's not – I need a play to go right in order for me to feel great the rest of the game. It's like no matter what happens, like we're learning how to play through it. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned even looking at this season. Like, I started off and had some unfortunate plays not go my way, like in a return game with we kind of got hit when the punt happened. I dropped the touchdown pass. I fumbled a punt return. And it's like within those games, like your team rallies behind you and you keep on playing and you keep on playing. You look at Quandre, how early on, like he was missing some interceptions, but it's like you keep on playing. And so like now when you look towards the end of the season, it's like that's all you see is like players that aren't flinching. Like Quandre catches that big time interception and it keeps our season alive. Like if Geno threw a pick, it was like, okay, that's the first play. You would have thought, oh man, this might not be going good, like as a fan. But it's like, no, like we came back, we battled back, we even won. We missed a field goal to win the game. People outside might be like, oh my gosh, like that might have been it. And it's like, no, you keep on playing and we won. So even though we have such a young team, I just think that we have a team that's been through a lot of stuff as far as like losing some games that we felt like we should have won, or, offense hitting their strides at times or defense hitting their strides at times, special teams trying not to ever waver and just trying to remain consistent. It's like the battles and the things that we've lost, we've really learned from them, and we're starting to see that as we continue to play together like this late in the season.
Tyler, over the years, have you felt any extra intensity in games against the 49ers? Because when you came here, there were still a lot of guys who were there from the really intense rivalry days, like Sherman, Doug, and those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be some type of rivalry, but I feel like all three of our rivalries are within our division. You just know what type of game it's going to be when you get ready to play. It's going to be a very, very physical game, and you just got to be able to get ready and bring it. I mean, I think that's really the mentality that you got to have. It's really weird that you get a chance to play a team 3 times. That's something that doesn't really happen, but I mean, for us, man, we just accepting a challenge, and we're just going to go out there and play.
Tyler, you've talked before about kind of some of the freedom you have in this offense. Do you feel like you have a greater voice in kind of what happens out there maybe this year more than the past little bit? Do you think that's something you've earned?
I mean, it can be, but I don't really talk a lot, when I'm out there. Some games I do, I kind of pick and choose, but sometimes when you're given freedom, you got to learn how not to use that freedom at times too. You got to be able to stay within the offense and not try to do things your way all the time, which can be hard when, you're being given a lot of freedom. So for me, I try to just make sure I'm still listening to what it is that the coaches want me to do, understanding when they are giving me that freedom and lead way to do certain stuff and when not to do it. And so, the biggest thing is if I do anything, I got to make sure I'm on the same page with Geno, because I could be out there doing whatever, and if he hadn't seen it before, it can mess him up within his reads and progressions. So for me, it's just communication. I think that's the biggest thing, whether you do stuff or not, whether you're on the same page with the OC or the receiver coach or Geno. You just got to make sure that y'all are always talking things through based off of looks, but also not trying to overthink it, like he would say going into the Rams game, like just play what you see.
Tyler, what would you say nearly 70% completion percentage for Geno this year, throwing for almost 4,300 yards? What do you think that speaks to when you hear those numbers and the way his season's gone and what he's done for you guys?
Well, I mean, I think it just says a lot about the way he plays the game. I think for him, it says a lot about how he trusts that he could throw the ball to whoever, whenever. It's not like he just throws it to certain people when the game is on the line. Like, he's willing to throw the ball to anybody. And I think for us, it's like you never know when you're going to have a chance to get the ball. You can draw up a play and it's supposed to go to one player and he throws it to somebody else. And, that's the cool part about it, because it keeps everybody involved and it makes everybody have to run their routes, because sometimes you can get lost in, oh, I'm the last progression. But sometimes like he could pass up progressions and go straight to you, even if you're the 4th progression. And so I think that's the cool part about it, because all of us have to be able to keep running no matter what, and we have to be able to stay open or to help other people get open. And, that's the biggest thing that we learned just with Shane coming in, is being able to understand the importance of us being able to finish our routes.
What's the most obvious difference in Ken Walker over the last 3.5 weeks?
I think Ken's just gotten real comfortable, man. Like, starting at the beginning of the year, he was able to have Penny right there, who was able to be that big brother, kind of walk him through, introduce him to the NFL. And, unfortunately, things ended up happening with Penny. And, I think Ken has just been able to, like, come into his own. He's been able to, like, be content. He's been able to kind of learn what the NFL is like, but also he's been able to be the Ken Walker that we always knew that he could be. And he's learning every single day. Like, he takes advice. He listens to the coaches if they tell him certain stuff. Like, his IQ of the game is rising, like, rapidly. And, those are the things that you look for. And, I was super happy for him to be able to get 1,000 yards. I know we all were really happy for him. He's been making terrific plays, making people miss, like, doing so many exciting things. And it's really cool to be able to watch. And, like I said at one point, I think when it was me, DK, and Geno, like, they rarely say anything. And I don't really think any of the rookies understand the type of success that they're having so early in their career and what that means.
Do you usually know when a play is called, like what number read you are for the quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of learn that from Madden. Like, you play Madden enough, you understand, like, the reads that you got to be able to go through and who's number one, who's number two, who's number three. Sometimes when you're looking at the game plan and stuff, you kind of have an idea based off a scheme, like what we're trying to do. Once you learn defenses, you understand what you're trying to do. But, I mean, you also got to understand, too, like, as a quarterback, you're going up to the huddle and you're expecting a certain coverage, and if they go to a different coverage, the reads may differ. And, it goes one way if it's cover 3, but then if it goes cover 2, it goes a whole different way. So, luckily I'm just a receiver. I could just play and react in a different way that the quarterback has to. But I think it's pretty cool just the fact that, as a quarterback, like all the quarterbacks in the league, they have to be able to adapt, like, at the snap of a ball, because sometimes teams can disguise and show you a whole different look.
Geno Smith he was just joking and laughing as he's been with us all year before you came on, and then he's dancing yesterday coming off the field. Have you noticed anything different in him this week?
I think everybody's just free. Like, I honestly think everybody's just more free. And, you don't have to be uptight. You don't have to be tense. Like, obviously, we're going into a playoff game, and it's like you can really make it like, oh, my gosh, it's the playoffs. Like, we got to. But it's like, it's different when, like, everybody is telling you, like, it's like you got to win or it's a bust type of season, or when people thought we was going to win 4 games. You know what I mean? So, at the end of people thought we were going to win 4, I guess one dude thought we were going to win 0. And so it's like, for us to be here, I keep saying, like, we really don't have anything to lose. And, we're just going to go out there and have fun, go out there and play. And, I feel like we're getting better each and every week. Like, we've been struggling with red zone, but, like, that stuff can be fixed. Like, we saw the type of offense we could be early in the season. Defense is starting to do a lot of great things. They've been stopping the run, being able to get us the ball. I think the Rams only had 3 points in the second half. Like, that was real big. When you look at us being able to run the ball, like, really good, like, we've been running the ball really well the last couple of games, second half starting versus the Chiefs. And so it's stuff like that we understand. Like, when you go into the playoffs, like, we understand that you got to be efficient on both sides. You got to be able to run the ball. You can't just be able to pass the ball, and you can't just be able to run the ball. You got to be able to balance it out and pass it as well. So, we understand, and we feel like we're starting to get there. And, it's kind of pointless for us to try to talk to the young guys and say, hey, man, it's the playoffs, like this, and this. It's like, nah, man, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Said for a real estate agent, you're a pretty good receiver.
Yeah, I was shocked. Pete told y'all all that stuff. But, yeah, man, I love real estate. I've gotten into it. I just got my Texas license. I hadn't told nobody that yet. I was going to wait until the end of the season. But I got my Texas license, got my Washington's license. Something that I'm really excited about, just when the season is over. Hopefully it's after Super Bowl where we can celebrate and stuff. But, I just been looking forward to it, man. Like, it's not like I'm trying to do it full-time right now because I got a full-time job. But it's just an addition. And, the cool part about it is when I get deals or when I'm able to, like, close certain stuff, all it does is show everybody else that I'm more than a football player. And it shows everybody that I actually know what I'm doing instead of people just saying, hey, stick to football, like, run this route, do this, do that. And so, I try to keep everything, like, within a certain amount of people, a group of people, so that way, like, You don't have to deal with the fans and stuff being like, hey, man, you so worried about this, like, stick to this. Like, it's pointless to let people know what's going on within your life until, football is over. And then you can start kind of like, showing the real estate side. But, yeah, man, I enjoy it. And it's kind of cool because when you're somebody's agent, you got to be able to learn how to do what's best for that player. And the cool part with me being a captain for my first year, it's like you have to learn how to sacrifice. And even if you think that this might be the best deal, you got to be able to understand, like, not every person that's your client might see it the same way. And so you got to be able to learn how to meet your client where they're at. You got to be able to learn how to give them the rundown of everything. And it works the same way with the team. It's like I got to be able to learn how to meet teammates where they're at because some people might be excited and I got to be able to learn how to, like, mellow them down so they're not overly excited. Some people, like, we might not feel like practicing it some days or we might get, like I said, overly excited, and you got to balance it out, calm it down, learn how to talk to people, can't yell at everybody. You got to be able to sometimes bring them to the side. Some people you could talk to in front of everybody. So it's kind of cool just how those things can, like, intertwine within. So yeah.
Have you closed quite a few deals then already?
Yeah, so I did my first one that I did, we closed at 3.25 million, which was pretty cool. And the second one I did, we did a commercial property in Aberdeen. And so yeah, I was able to, like, I think we had that pending right before camp. So I was like, yes, I can focus on football. But then I had to, like, get help with seeing it close, and it closed in, like, October. So, like, I was kind of dealing with a little bit of that. Not so much. I had people helping me that worked at Keller Williams East Side, so that helps out a lot because they understand that I'm in football and what I'm doing, so they kind of helped out with some of the people that I've met that can really, like, take things off my hands and really help me with it. So, yeah, I did that, and, yeah, let's just focus on winning this game.